Hello. Hello, good evening. Welcome. Welcome. My name is Kwabena and welcome to tonight. Tonight, I feel like sharing and encouraging somebody who decided to build a business and who is going through some kind of pressure, some kind of discomfort, some kind of things that he did not pursue or perceive that he will be hit that way. I just feel like encouraging somebody. I just feel like telling the young man who is trying to find his livelihood by building a business, or the young woman who has started to trade with some item, or being innovative at something, and the thinking is that she's trying to build a business. I just feel like sharing some kind of encouraging words with you, because the journey, what they call the entrepreneurship journey, is very tough. It's very difficult. It's very lonely, and until you've been in it, until you have been in it, doing it yourself, there's a little appreciation that you have for the kind of pressure, the kind of difficulties, the kind of pains that people who are entrepreneurs go through. And so I want to share with you, it takes a while for entrepreneurs to see big wins. It takes a while for entrepreneurs to see big wins. I am not much more, I'm not that particularly focused on those who are running big businesses. Those are not my interests. My interest is with those who are trying to pick an idea and to build it into a business, or those who are trying to find themselves to do something and they tilt towards entrepreneurship. Uh, my interest is like that because we came from a background where we did not see an uncle build a big business, or we did not see a grandparent build a big business, or a father or a mother build a big business. The closest they got to was maybe they open a shop, or they were trying to do something just to feed the family. And even though they say that that's part of entrepreneurship, that's not really my focus. My focus is a young man, is a young woman who has an idea and who wants to build that idea into something beyond their widest dream, and who in the course of building that dream or that business, they sometimes become desperate, and sometimes they gasp for oxygen, for air, because they get to a position where they feel like they are choked, or they feel like they want to give up, or they feel like the whole world is against them. I just want to say that we've been there several times. We've been there through the pressure, and I'm not sure we are even out of the pressure. But it's just a stage, and if you have a very long term perspective of the journey that you have taken as entrepreneur, of if you so wish to take that journey, if you have got to have a very long term perspective, you have got to learn a lot. You have got to study a lot of the materials on the people we call entrepreneurship. I remember there was a time that I was reading a lot of materials on this. I was watching a lot of videos on people. A lot of them were foreigners actually, but those are the materials that we had our hands on, where I could sit behind the laptop and come up with all kind of business ideas and business documents, because we and we did not have a lot of people who could encourage us, and who could tell us the path that they had endured. So um, I just want to say that no matter how difficult it is for your journey, no matter how tough it is for your journey is your journey. Your journey is not mine, and mine is not yours. The path that you have taken is yours, and you have to endure it. Most people cannot understand you, and they don't have to even understand you. As a matter of fact, the journey, if anybody can understand you, it could be between you and God. All the other people around you, your friends, your parents, your brothers and sisters, they may not have the full detail of what you endure every bit, every day, every second, every minute, every hour. So a lot of things take time to become massive success, and business is no different from it. As a matter of fact, the entrepreneurship journey is one of a marathon. It's not the one that you dash off. It's not the one that is 100 meters, 9 seconds, you are finished. The entrepreneurship journey is a long haul journey. It takes time to experience some huge success. And when I talk of huge success, I'm talking of those who start to see big money, 100 million, 200 million, 500 million kind of worth. Those kind of people who built genuine business that they built with their innovative ideas, with their character, with their sweat, with the sacrifices that they made. A lot of them, they did that over a long time. They did that over a long time. It did not happen in a minute. It takes a while for even the business idea to start to make sense to you as the entrepreneur. And sometimes it takes not more than, not less than a year for you to even see that, okay, I said that I want to start a provision shop, and this is where I want to locate the business, and these are the kind of people that I want to sell to. Sometimes it takes a while, so it's not something that you just going to see big success in just a minute. It takes, if you see most of these huge African entrepreneurs who have done a fantastic job, they have done it over 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and they are the ones seeing the 200 million, the 500 million, the 10 billions, those people who are seeing this kind of big figures. And if you're a young man, if you're a young woman, and that is your aspiration, you are the one that I am talking to. I am not talking to the one who wants to get a contract from the government, and out of the contract you shoot the figures, and then you go and buy a car, build a house, and tell people that you're doing business. I'm not talking of those kind of people. And I'm not talking of somebody who is just trying to kill everybody, lie to everybody to get some money, to build a house, buy a car, wear a nice suit. I'm not talking of those. Those have their vision. But I'm talking to somebody who is starting virtually, possibly with no technical understanding, with no business understanding, who just happens to have a dream and some kind of energy, and who wants to do something with his life or with her life. And you so believe that you can become successful. You so believe that you can become one of these big businessmen, and that dream is always in your face. That dream is always on your mind. You are always seeing yourself as somebody who can become huge. And as a matter of fact, you have taken step. You have a business that you're doing. You have registered the business. You see some successes, even though it's difficult. You're looking for funds, you're looking for sales, you're looking for contracts, you're looking for leads, and it's all about you. Maybe you may even have some people around you who you have employed, but it's constant, and you want to build a dream. You want to build this dream beyond yourself. That kind of person I am talking to, because from the little studies that I have done and from the little experience that I have, it takes a while for you to get there. It takes a while. So you may want to embrace yourself. You may want to build yourself. You may have to conscientize yourself that it's going to take a lot of time for you to get into those big figures, where you become very influential business person in your country, in your community, in your region. It takes a while. So if you are in that haste to say that, oh, I've just started this business, and you look at especially you look at some of these technology boys, technology business entrepreneurs from America, and you hear their stories, and it looks like they just saw the business in a day, and the next day they are billionaires. If you're that kind of person, you may be living in deception, because even in technology, a lot of these Google boys and Yahoo people and Facebook and even the man himself, Microsoft, they endured a lot. They endured a lot, and they started to see the big figures, even in an economy that is a bit more, robust and structured, and which understands entrepreneurship. The culture understands entrepreneurship a little more than most places, and if you look at that kind of culture and how long it took them for them to become huge success, you can understand that you probably are not in technology kind of business. You have taken the traditional business, so probably your focus is to be building maybe a retail business, maybe a farm, construction or engineering firm, maybe a finance, banking, no matter the kind of business that you are trying to do. You have not taken that part. Even those who took that part, it took them a while for them to start to see the big figures. And you are coming from here that you have to, maybe you don't even have any skill, you don't even have the finances. You are building yourself. You're building yourself. In that case, my submission is that it will take you a while. And if it takes a while, just keep going, because you are going to see some successes, you're going to see some failures, you're going to go through some kind of path for a while. But if you're able to endure for 10 years, if you're able to endure for, don't kill yourself, don't go hungry. You must see some revenue, you must see some figures. But for you to enter the hundreds, the 200s, the 500s, the billions, it's got to take you a different psyche. It's got to take you a different way of looking at entrepreneurship and business. Okay, so I am talking of those who are using innovation, ethics, strength, vision, problem solving skills, leadership, to build business. There has to be that kind of hunger for success. You have to have that thirst for success. You have to have that you want to become big, and it's always constantly in your heart. You have to decide that you want to be big, you want to dominate, you want dominion. You don't want to be little. You hate to be referred to as a little business person, even if you are very little. That kind of tendency is in you. You have to hold that. You have to be humble enough to go through the little ones now, but you still have to keep in your heart the largeness that you see in the future, because it takes a while. And those who are winning in such levels, big leagues, those who are employing big numbers, some of them employing 10,000 people, 500 people, 2,000 people, 25,000 people. They didn't just get there in a minute. They got there through sweat, through pain, through endurance. Those who have created a lot of opportunities on the continent, in our country, a lot of prosperity, and those who are doing it well. I'm not talking of those who are looking for government contract, and every business that they have is the government who gave them contract and gave them money. I'm not talking of those. I'm talking of those who have been able to build business, mobilize funds, okay? And those are the ones who are even helping to invest in countries. I'm talking of those kind of big players. It took them a lot of time to get there. And there's nothing wrong if that is your aspiration. And you might as well, if you want to work, if you shoot so high and you don't get there, at least you'll be a bit higher than where you are. So if you shoot for a billion kind of business in your lifetime and you don't get to a billion, at least you will cross 100. But if you shoot for 10,000, it's no figure. It's no figure. So there are those who are investing in countries, those who are bringing billions. They're able to mobilize wealth. Those kind of people, they took time to build the skill, the expertise, the stamina, the network, the experience. Those who are collaborating with government to build big infrastructure, production companies, manufacturing companies, processing companies. Those kind of people I am talking of. It took them a long time to get there. A long time. Even in well-established economies. If he's the one who started business, it took him a while. And so if you have just started and you have seen some millions, 10 million, 20 million somewhere, and you're doing it then genuinely, and you're doing the right business, there's no need to despair, and there's no need to give up. Continue to think and see far, and see yourself as a major player. Perhaps you will get there. And I think that if you study and you continue to develop yourself, you continue to sacrifice, you continue to push a lot into that, you will get there. The thing is that you are not going to get a lot of people who will believe that it's possible for you to get there. And if nobody believes in that, at least you should believe that you can get into those kind of figures. And even if you don't get there, nobody is going to kill you. So what prevents you from thinking like that? What prevents you from seeing it like that? I'm not talking of the big men in Ghana, those who are seeing some millions and calling it the end of their hugeness. No, I'm talking of those who want to go into the big figures, into the big billions, and who want to do proper business. So you could be a woman, you could be a man, you could be a young guy, you could be somebody. It just understand that it takes a while. The studies that they have done on entrepreneurship, even if they started in their 20s, they started to become huge after a while. They started to become huge. If you started in your 15s, for instance, you add about 10 to 15, 20 years to that before you, if you were consistently growing, before you start to become a force that nations and government can recognize. It doesn't take you just 5 years to just jump like that. That's why sometimes if you see some kind of businesses which were nowhere, and in a minute they have become so much successful, there is some kind of controversy around the kind of infrastructure that they built to get the genuine revenue that the business is depending on. So if you had to raise investors' money to make noise, it's good you have the investors' money, but your business should be able to make that money as well. So if an investor gives you, say, $200 million into your business should be able to pay that that investor back before you start to make a lot of noise. And so you see that people start to talk a lot, but the business itself has not generated that. And some of them too is the government who gave them contract, and you know what happens. But that's not the future. That is not the future. The future is you having an idea to say that I want to manufacture bags, I want to manufacture I want to make purses, I want to make telephone, I want to make computers, and I want to sell millions to the whole of Africa. I want to produce shirts. I want to produce something that I want to spread all over. I have a product that I want everybody in Africa to get, everybody around the world to get, and out of that I'm able to build a business around it. Whatever your business is, those kind of people that I am talking of, those who have that vision, that conviction, and who are ever ready to keep pushing, those kind of people. So most of these men and women, most of them, you can see that most of them are in retail, they are in manufacturing, they are in construction, engineering, agriculture, mining, oil industries, oil and gas, banking and finance. Some of them are in the health sector, some of them are in the education sector, and they start to build it gradually, one after the other, one after the other. So after a while, you see that the man has a lot of money, but you can see there's a proof that he has employed 20,000 people, 200,000 people, 10,000 people, 5,000 people. You can see the opportunities that the man has created for people and for himself, for his country, for his continent. And out of that, you see that they start to make a lot of wealth. This kind of big players, this kind of huge, successful entrepreneurs, they did not get there in a day. They did not get there in a day. So if you have also started something, that is the kind of spirit you want to adapt. But you want to cover the bases. You want to make sure that the bases are right. You want to make sure that you are doing the things, because they didn't just jump to get to those. There were a lot of things that they did rightly. They started to build in one industry, and they were able to study the industry, and they were able to see the things. They were able to generate the sales, the revenue. They were able to build what they were building, and they succeeded there. And out of that, they started to leverage the exposure, the network, So you should be able to commit to one industry or two and become some kind of success there, So it's practical, it's gradual. It is not a dash. It is something that is going to take you some bit of time. So they have built their empires with sacrifices, with sacrifice. They sacrifice their life, their time, sometimes their relationships. Do you know that most of these guys have married more than 1, 2, 3? And it's not the best, but they put in, it shows how much sacrifices that they had to make to get to where they are. So if you have that kind of vision, and I don't see why you should not have that kind of vision, that you have started let's say you have started a plantain farm in your village, and you say that you are an entrepreneur, you want to you want to build it big. I can't see why you can't see that this business that I've started, in the next 10-20 years, I want to export some of this plantain to Kenya. I want to export some to Botswana. I want to export some to China. Why can't you see that? What prevents you from seeing that? Or this rare estate business that I have started, I want to see it grow to other parts of Africa. Why can't it? And you are not just going to be in haste to get there. You're going to give yourself some timelines and continue to build. Because most of these guys, that's what they did. They built for 5 years, they built for 10 years, they built for 20 years, and they continue to grow, they continue to expand, and they really wanted to do that. They really wanted to become huge. They really wanted to become authority to reckon with. They believe in growth. They believe that they had what the rest of the world needed. So it's a psyche, it's a thinking, but it takes a while to get into those kind of leagues. So those of us who are still aspiring to be there, we just have to understand that it takes some bit of time, and they kept going. They never gave up. They don't think small, and they don't stay small. Those kind of people don't think small, and they don't stay small. If you hear the words that they use, they're always using the word like the world, the continent, Africa, the world, China, Asia. Those are the words. They are not talking about. They are not competing with their friend who bought a Land Cruiser. That's not the kind of competition that they do. They are competing in taking countries, in taking continents, in taking regions. That's what they are competing. That's what their focus is. So they're looking for the big figures. They're not looking for this kind of little things, and you call it success. So with all this, they built their skills, they built all the expertise, they continue to build the finances, the influence, the network, the knowledge, and that is how they get to build the huge successes that they built. So if you say, sometimes they try to tell us that entrepreneurs are coming, people who are selling somewhere, they're entrepreneurs and all that. Yes, they are, but the truth is that this word or this business term refers to those who are playing it big and playing it hugely, and they are not the ones who are playing. Even if it's 10 million, it's still not, there. And it takes a while for you to get into the other figures. Even in economies that are well regulated, and in economies that have produced a lot of financially buoyant businesses and entrepreneurs, it takes a while. They took them a while. A lot of them gave up. A lot of them collapsed like 10 times, 4 times, 5 times. A lot of them crashed. Some of them will start a business, and the next minute that business is gone. They go for funders money, and the next 2 years they can't find the money. They are in trouble, they go bankruptcy, they get back up, they continue to fight. Then out of somewhere a new idea comes, and some of them, the ideas that they didn't even start, they did start with, may not even be the ideas that became huge for them to succeed, So it's a constant fight, it's a constant build up. It's a constant desire to become huge. It's a constant desire to become successful. It's a constant desire to achieve and to play in the big league. It's their vision, it's their obsession, it's that which they want to become. But then they understood that it would take them some kind of time. And that's why if you look at a lot of them, they are in their 50s, they're in their 60s, they're in their 70s. I mean, very few of them are in their 30s and things like that. And even in the 30s, go and study the time that they started their business and how many hours, how many years that they have put in their business. So a lot would have to do with the number of hours that you put in a business for you to become a huge player. But you have to understand that it's going to take you a while for you to get into this kind of big figures. And our advice, our desire is not to stay with 1 million business all our lives, 1 million per year kind of business all your life. No, you want to get into the huge league. You want to get into the 100 millions. You want to get into the 200 millions, the billions. And if that is your thinking, you have to understand that it's going to take you some bit of time to build capacity, to build. So when you see the experts, the entrepreneurs who are experts, who are controlling wealth, they went through the process. They went through the process. So if you have started and you have met some challenges, you have met some negative things that you least expected, you probably some of you had a peace of life, you had your peace of mind until you started a business, and then the business we started has become trouble. You owe everybody, you don't have any friend anymore, very confused and sad. Look beyond that stage. Look into the future. Look into the future. All these guys, if you happen to read their books, that's why it's very good for you. You cannot become an entrepreneur if you can read, you can write, and not go for knowledge. It's almost like like what? Like you're not drinking water. What are you going to do? You're going to die. So you cannot say that you want to be an entrepreneur. You can read, you can write, and you're not reading. It's dangerous. You have to read. You have to study what others have gone through. You have to search for information. You have to watch videos, listen to tapes. Constantly getting knowledge, constantly becoming better. Because that's the only way that you will see that those who play big, that is one of their secrets. One of their secrets is that they are always becoming better, constantly. And they also studied those who came before them. They learned, they studied them, they understudied them. Some of them, they will have somebody physical that they could go to talk to every now and then, or they will have somebody that they were reading their materials, their books, their tapes every now and then. Why? That's how you become a master. That's how you become strong. That's why you start to think big. That's why you think hugely. That's why you are never comfortable with little wins. That's why you don't settle with little. So you buy some house and you think that you are hugely successful. No, because there is so much. There are so much that we have to cover, And so I'm talking about, it takes a while for entrepreneurs to become to see big wins. And when I talk of big wins, I'm not talking about 2 million or 3 million or 4 million, or you getting a contract from local government. I'm not talking of that kind of thing. I'm talking of where you are building businesses that are employing thousands of people. You're building businesses that are employing thousands of people. And those kind of boys, the little I've read about them is that they don't joke. They work. And they have put in a lot of hours. They have done it. They have become masters. It didn't take them 2 years to build those kind of businesses. If you see somebody employing 20,000 people, it didn't take him 1 year. It took him a lifetime to build that. So you just started your business. You were 20 years, you started your business, you're now 22, and you're comparing yourself with those kind of people. You can only get inspiration from them, but you cannot compare yourself, because they are big players. They are huge. They have put in a lot of sacrifices. Now, you cannot underestimate the sacrifices that they have done. Okay, you have to just look at the sacrifices and get inspired and see how much training that you yourself have got to do to reach those big wins and big leagues. And so when I'm talking of a big win, I'm not talking of the one that you got to buy Toyota Corolla. No. Or the one that you got, the money that you got that you want to build 2-bedroom house. That's not the kind of success I'm talking of. I'm talking of the kind of success that you start to employ 500 people, 200 people, 5,000 people, where you start to see 10 million every day, 20 million every second day, 100 million every month. Those kind of guys, they did not get there in a minute. They got there almost, it's a lifetime story. Okay, but they believe that they will get there. So my name is Kwabena. I feel like encouraging somebody somewhere who has committed himself or herself to be an entrepreneur, to build a business, whether it's by mistake that you entered into business or by your own decision that you entered into business, and you are at a stage where you feel like, why did I get myself into this kind of mess? Why? What I would say is that it is not unique with you. It is not it's not so special with you. Every one of us go through that kind of phase, and don't expect people to understand that kind of phase. You are the only one who probably will understand that. It could be financial difficulties, it could be relational difficulties, it could be that there is no business coming, and it could also be that you are ill-equipped, you are unskilled, and you're confused, and you don't know what to do. You have a problem, don't know what to do. I would say that give yourself a long span, because those great players that you hear their name, those who the governments are afraid of, who the presidents will have to meet, those who are respected, they went through a lot before they got there. And some of them have put in 40 years of their lives building multinationals, building big businesses across countries, across continents. They didn't get there. They are just like human beings, like you, like me. Some of them started with less than we started with, but they believed that they could do something, and they started to go for it. They started to go for it, and they continue to go for it. Some of them could be in the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, but they have put in a lot of hours, okay, a lot of years to get to where they are. So it takes a while for you to see massive success, and entrepreneurship is part of it. It takes a long time. Entrepreneurship is not a dash. It's not 100 meters. It's a whole marathon. It's heavy, and sometimes you feel like giving up, but it is consistency that pays. Commitment, perseverance, patience, faith, hope, strategy, keeping on. That is what makes you win. Okay, so if you look at most of these big players with big wins who are making billions and millions, it has taken them some bit of sacrifices. And so I am talking of those who have used innovation, thinking, strength, strategies to build businesses, those who have seen needs of society and who have gone in to solve it and scale it beyond what everybody else could even see. Those kind of people are the ones that I'm talking of as entrepreneurs with big wins, and they are solving huge problems for the continent and for the countries that they live in or they come from. So you have to have that huge hunger to be successful and to play in that kind of league. If you don't want to be huge, then there's no need trying to building. You want to feed your family with that. That is fantastic if that is your vision. But I think that Africa has enough poor people that if perchance you happen to have been gifted, you have to think big, because when you succeed, a lot of people will succeed. When you build businesses and companies and create opportunities, a lot of people. When you are a billionaire, a lot of people will become billionaires. When you are a billionaire, a lot of people will become millionaires. A lot of people will create wealth out of your obedience, out of your decisions, out of the opportunities that you create. Okay, but if you fail, what you don't realize is that a lot of people will also fail. A lot of people will also be left behind because you fail. Okay, so the responsibility, we don't have enough entrepreneurs. We don't have enough people who think of even starting a company and doing it well. Okay, so if you happen to be one of them, then my encouragement is that whatever difficulty that you're going through is not unique with you. Don't give up. Look beyond, look far, think ahead, see yourself as a major player, and be prepared to go through whatever you have to go through at this stage to get there. Never ever see yourself as a little person who is just trying to survive. All of them, all the big people, those who have ever succeeded and hugely succeeded, they all started like the way you have started, the way I have started. Okay, and they continue on to build. They continue to believe that it is possible. So never ever talk yourself down. Never ever see yourself as somebody who cannot succeed. This is not for everybody. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. I don't believe that it's for everybody. It's for a certain kind of people who think and see life from a certain perspective. It's not for everybody. If you're looking for comfort, if you're looking for If you're very much interested in what people think, if you're very much competitive with trivia things, nine shirt, nine shoe, if you want to live for yourself, entrepreneurship is not for you. It demands a lot of sacrifices, it demands a lot of thinking. You have to crack your brains. There's a lot of pressure. If you can't take pressure, it's not for you. If you're selfish and everything is for you, it's not for you. If you can see far, it's not for you. Those kind of. I'm not talking of the one that is just doing some trading to take care of his family. I'm talking of the one who wants to build a business to employ 10,000 people, 1,000 people, 500 people, create millions and billions and worth for the continent and for the country. Those kind of people, it takes a while to see big wins. And the while could be 10 years, the while could be 20 years, the while could be 30 years. The ones who are seeing big successes, that's taking them a lifetime to be winning. So if you just started, keep going, keep going, keep going. We are talking of business people who are investing in countries, who are able to mobilize wealth, finances, and come and say that I want to build a sugar factory, I want to build a oil and gas factory, I want to build this, I want to build a bank, I want to build this, I want to build 5,000 houses, housing units. I want to do this. Those kind of people are the ones that we are talking of. They are the big players. They started to see the big wins after they had paid their dues. It didn't take them 1 year or 2 years. It took them a while for them to get to the levels that they could easily mobilize millions and billions, sometimes from investors and sometimes from their own businesses. Okay, because it took them a while for them to build the network, the expertise, the influence. They took them to build the wisdom that comes with it, the knowledge, the understanding to run in big businesses. And so it takes a while. It takes a while. And so those are the guys who are able to go to governments and to tell them that give me land, this is what I want to do. And they are not the ones paying bribe to a lot of these government officials. So most of these men and women, you can see that they have become, their businesses run in retail, manufacturing, agriculture, construction and engineering. You can see them in oil and gas, technology businesses, finance, education, health. You can see them. Some of them combine about 10 of them because they have mastered it and they have endured enough to know the terrain. Okay, some of them are in telecommunications, some of them in media, some of them into sports, business, all kind of things, but they have paid their dues. So you see them when they talk, they know what they are saying. So they have built their empires through their sacrifices. They have sacrificed almost everything to get there. And so if you have not sacrificed much, be prepared. But there's nothing like thinking small. Don't think small, think big, and nobody will kill you for thinking to become like those kind of people. Because when you're thinking at that level, then those who are here, whatever they say will not get to you that much because you're thinking way ahead. So it takes a while, and keep going, and don't think small, think big, and never give up on yourself, never give up on your dream, and believe that it is possible. Okay, so that's how, when you believe and you continue to work at that, that's why you build the expertise, you build the skill, and you start to see the finances and the wealth and the opportunities that you can create because you believe in that. So entrepreneurship is not just one day wonder. It takes a while. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of training. There are a lot of pain. There are a lot of nights that you don't want. But the thing about it is that the moment you understand that it takes a while, then why stress? Why worry? Because it takes a while for you to get there. So the more you're just on course and training yourself and becoming big and learning and expanding, enjoy the journey. Because it's not like it's going to take you 2 years to get there. It can take you a whole life to get to where you can control billions. Okay? And to control huge wealth. With a plan, of course, it takes a plan. It takes a strategy. It takes a lot of thinking, a lot of all the things that they have done to get where they are. And so study them, read about them, study them, read about them, whether they are from Africa or from other continents. Read about them, study them. But then the thing is that you have to break that limiting thinking, that small thinking that you just have to own something small in your village. This is not one corner, okay? We are talking of many corners around the globe. And so if you don't break that thinking, that smallness, that selfishness, the way you just want small thing for yourself, you don't want trouble, that's not the kind of thing that we are talking of. We're talking of people who can see far, who can think far, who can think big, who can look at big figures and not shake. You say, okay, so now you have 5, you want to get to 50. Now you have 50, you want to get to 20,000. You know, those are the kind of spirit that we are looking for. The people who can see that it is important to play big, because if you have, say, 2,000 billionaires in Africa and all of them are employing 20,000 people, do you know how many employment will be? That will be a lot. Do you know how many small businesses that can come out of that? Do you know the kind of products that will come out of that? The kind of people who go to school out of their scholarship foundations, the education foundations that they set up, just because they are creating the wealth, that just because they are building businesses, just because they were not selfish. They were ready to think beyond themselves and think for the benefit of others and of people. Do you know how many families will be changed because they are creating the jobs that are so much needed? And so, but it takes a while to get there. It takes a while to get there. So you enjoy, train yourself, and keep going. And never worry about those who disagree with you, or those who think that you are greedy and you are never satisfied. Never get satisfied. Okay? Just appreciate the stage that you are and be thankful for where you have come from, but never stop. Because life does not stop. Life is in constant motion. The moment you stop, you're gone. If the moment your heart stops, man, you're out of here. Okay? So never, ever stop moving. If you stop moving, you're gone. The river is always moving. The river stops, it starts to stink. Okay? Nothing is everything is in constant motion. They told us everything. The earth is always revolving. They said. The moment the earth stops, everything becomes chaotic. So that's it. Constant motion. Become better and see the big figures. And you don't have to be there to enjoy like that. Just continue to see and think like them. Sometimes you can watch a movie and you see yourself like the guy who's killing everybody in the movie. You are watching football and you can see that the guy who scores, you were not in the stadium, but he scored and you were moving your leg. Because what they are doing, you can connect to it. So say, connect with the successes of these huge players. Study them. Let them inspire you. Let their successes inspire you. Let their endurance inspire you. Let their creativity inspire you. Okay, let their stories inspire you. Never give up. Continue to go, continue to grow. Every one of us, and at a point that you will hit that bigness. Every one of us. But if you don't give up, you have a lot of people who start to see the millions, the billions that can create a lot of businesses and that can create a lot of opportunities. It shouldn't be said of us that every time all the big companies in Ghana are owned by foreigners. I think it's an indictment on us. All the big companies in Africa are owned by, in our mining sector, it should be us. In the next 30 years, our people should be the ones owning the big mining companies. We should be the ones owning the big factories. We should be the ones owning the big farms in our country. Our children should be going to the best schools, not the foreigners. In our own land, no. We should have the billionaires coming from our land, those who are living well. Foreigners should come and look for help, look for job, just as we go to look for jobs somewhere. We go to look for jobs somewhere, but not on our own land where we become slaves. Because we think small. But if you can get a lot of our people to think big, on our own land, we cannot be small. I think it's a case for any country to have the best of their own people being slaves. The richest in their land are not the natives, are not the citizens. I think that is the case. That is wrong. It does not mean that foreigners cannot be wealthy, but they have their country. Okay, they have the best opportunities in their country. If they come here, they cannot become the kings and we are the slaves. We should be owning the big factories. We should be owning the big hospitals. Our children should be going the best of schools here. Our people should be the best. But we are not going to do that until we think big like that, until we think huge like that. That's why, so when somebody is thinking little, it's because they don't see the enormosity of the problem, that a land endowed with gold, diamond, cocoa, all these ones, and we don't have our people being rich, being the wealthiest. That is wrong. But it starts with the thinking. It starts with us seeing that it's possible, and we are the ones to control the wealth. We are the ones to create the wealth. We are the ones to be in charge of the wealth. It's not right for us to be in our own country, and we are not the ones in the top positions. No, I'm not talking of political positions. I'm talking of commerce. Commerce. Because if you want to, you can have the political position. If I control the flow of money in your country, you have nothing. You have nothing. Because if you threaten me, I'll move the cash. Your economy will sink. But if our own people are in charge of the economy, if you go to where they are creating the big mining companies, they are run by Ghanaians. If you go to the oil field, the big ones are running by 20-year people, 30-year people, 40-year people with big companies employing thousands of people. And it's a Ghanaian. Then we are somewhere. You go to the IT sector and you see that the guy is creating all these softwares and he's employing a lot of engineers, and he's a Ghanaian. Then that is what we are looking for. But we are not going to get there if you're being programmed to be little. Be programmed to be happy with little and celebrate little. Because if you look well in a country, we celebrate littleness. We give out all kind of awards to little things, unnecessary things that are still keeping us poor. We give our awards to a lot of people who have done nothing, only camera on them on TV. They are not solving the problems that we have to solve. Our problem, we have to create a lot of wealthy people who are controlling billions. Our doctors must not run away to go and look for a better job somewhere, because you're not looking at engineers who are thinking. You're not looking at entrepreneurs who are thinking beyond what we see here, the little things. So we are looking for people who can see big figures, and you don't get there in a day. It takes a while for us to get there. But the breaking point is when their mind can perceive that they are the ones to control the wealth in their own country. They are the ones. If I go to Nigeria, I should see the richest men in Nigeria being Nigerians. I should see the big banks in Nigeria being Nigerian owned. I should see the big manufacturing plants being Nigerian. If I come to Ghana, I should see the same thing. I should see the big mining companies being Ghanaian. I should see the big oil companies being Ghanaian. I should see. So when I go to Saudi Arabia, I'm not expecting to see a Ghanaian company being the biggest, and all of them are foreigners. I don't expect to see that. I expect the people from that country owning the biggest share of their wealth. Other than that, why are they the country? Why? If you go to England and all the richest people are from Africa, they will revolt. They will fight us. They will say, no, we will not put up with this. But we have put up with this kind of situation for years. Okay, and it's about our generation to talk and to start to do something. And to start from people who are thinking beyond their comfort, who are thinking of creating opportunities, business opportunities, because it always has got to do with the flow of cash. Forget all that they tell you. I tell you, if somebody moves, if I'm a billionaire here and I can move $2 billion from the Ghanaian economy because I'm angry, would you see the panic? There'll be panic here. All right, so you will empower your people to think huge and to see themselves as a judge, and it takes a while for us to create those kind of people, but the right frame of mind is very important. The right frame of mind is very important, so that we can create business people, entrepreneurs who are innovative, who are proud to invest in their own country, in their own continent, who are ethical, who want to see prosperity across board, who are creating opportunities. for everybody. Those are the things that we want to see. But what we are saying is that it takes a while. And so when you are on that journey, don't give up. When you're on that journey, don't give up. Don't take yourself weak. Don't take yourself as a victim. Don't take yourself like, no matter the pressure that comes, endure. Because a lot of these guys endured a lot before you started to hear their name. They endured so much stress, so much pain before you started to hear their name. And all the things, all the guys that you hear their name, they have gone through a lot. So if anybody tells you that they'll just pour water or oil on you and you become a billionaire, don't believe it. You have to have endurance. You have to have strength. You have to have courage, power, skill, dexterity. You have to have those. You have to know what it takes to build these things. You have to have the ability to scale, to grow. And if you didn't go through that, how are you going to do it? So it takes a while. Sometimes it takes like 20 years. And I've read a lot about these guys, and I've studied a lot of them. And most of them, they became very huge after they had put in not less than 20 years of their life building companies. Then they became huge. Then they became power. Whether it's in the retail, whether it's in technology, whether it's in communication, whether it's in mining, whether it's in, whatever, IT, internet business, whatever it is, they put a lot of hours, a lot of force. They compress time, a lot of them, to get the huge success. That's why they are controlling the billions. I'm not talking of the guy with 100,000 Ghana cedis saying that he's doing business and making noise. I'm talking of the guys who are making billions. It's put a lot of resources, a lot of effort. They didn't give up. They focused. They stayed. Some of them collapsed. Bankruptcy, banks everywhere. They fought back. So when you meet trouble, let you be encouraged that it takes a while for you to hit the big figures. And between now and that time, anything at all can happen. A lot of things can be thrown at you, and none of them should let you give up. Okay? Because when you succeed, you become an inspiration to all of us. You know what? We have had enough poor people. I think that we should see enough rare rich, not the ones who stole. I'm talking of rare rich people, rare rich. Those are the ones that we cannot bring down. And we don't. You can't even bring the one who succeeded genuinely down. You can't. Why? Because he got there by one step at the other. So you can't just drop them. No. The ones that they can easily drop, they didn't build it. They didn't. If you went through the process to build your wealth, nobody can just bring you down. Not just like that. It's not true. So if they can bring you down, there was something that they helped you do. There are some connections that they gave you. That's why you got what you want. So they know that what you have is a facade. It's not true. They know it. That's why they can bring you down easily. That's why they can threaten you. They continue to threaten you. Because if you went through the process, with skill, with ethics, with character, with endurance, with wisdom, with knowledge. So you operate at a level that they cannot just do anything to bring you down. And if you are building business, you have not added those, you just have to pause and know the kind of future that you want to, and the kind of business culture, the kind of business person you want to become. If you believe in just doing all kind of nasty things, it's a waste of time. But if you decide to do it rightly and continue to go, it may take a while, but you get there. And when you get there, a lot of people can be proud and learn from your story. And we will be happy that you got there. So, and that's how we share some of this, because I think that as Africans, the rest of the world is regenerating knowledge at a very fast rate than we are. The knowledge that are producing things, they are. The kind of knowledge that we are getting here is academic or religious knowledge. Those are the kind of knowledge that we have mastered. We have not mastered the productive knowledge. Okay, the knowledge that produces results, the knowledge that produces products, services, science, engineering products, the scientific products, the knowledge that they are using to go to the mass, the knowledge that they are using to create computers and IT and internet and things like that, I think is not caught up with our culture yet. Our culture, the best of progress that we have had now is what? Is in religious knowledge, is in Methuselah. We are quoting Methuselah and John and things like that. And that's why the things that we think that is the part of the Bible that is important. If you read Genesis, you'll see that the ones that the guys are using to go to the Mars, to go to the moon, to building the rockets, to building all this medical equipment and agricultural equipment and processing equipment, machine vision, manufacturing technology, all those kind of things that they're doing now. The robotics, the sensors that they are developing, the nanotechnology that they continue to, all this, they are in creation. They are in creation. But we think, at least they taught us the religion. That's the problem. So we think that the religion is praying to God for God to come and solve it. That's a major threat. God gave us brains and He gave us principles to discover. And those guys who are doing all these scientific things, they are discovering things that have been there all this while. The laws, they're just discovering them and they're applying them. And we are still caught up in that kind of knowledge, which is just academic. And the best that most of these are young men, and that's what is painful. Most of these young men will not even pick a book on read on engineering, on how to produce something, on technology, on how even a phone that is holding works, how the internet works. He's always reading some how to pray, how to fast, miracle. That's all that they are reading. And it's that sad, because we're still going to need this majority of these young men and women to produce results for the continent to get to where we want to go. Okay, so it's critical for us to think beyond the culture, and that's why we do what we do. That's why we talk. And let's see, even if you get one person in addition to what we have every now and then, to by all means, in 20 years time, in 30 years time, you'll have a different story as Africans, because we cannot be left behind forever. But if you don't do anything about it, we'll be left behind constantly. And it's not just time which will change it. Time will not change it. It's not even God who will change it. It will be us. And we will change it, unless we will not change it until we have the right knowledge to change it. The right form of knowledge to produce, to create results, to create prosperity. And so it takes a while for you to become a very huge, successful entrepreneur who is building billion-dollar businesses, billion city businesses everywhere. It takes a while. And so continue to grow, continue to push, and never settle with little, and never settle with failure. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you. My name is Kwabena. Thank you.